Alrighty, good afternoon, everybody. This is Robert at Scott Leroy Marketing. We're going to get started with our Placester 101 class here. I'm going to send over a couple of messages for you guys just to help you out as we get started. We are recording this class, and we record all of our training classes at slmtraining.com. We do separate out the MyKW Academy class. That's at slmwebinar.com. If you're having trouble hearing the audio, obviously you can't hear this message, but I'm sending over a message for instructions to call in by your phone. And then if you're using Microsoft Internet Explorer, unfortunately, you're going to have to switch your browser. The Placester interface will not work with Internet Explorer. It'll work with any other browser, but Internet Explorer is too old to work with Placester. And then lastly, before we get started, this is one of the most important things I'm going to tell you during this class. When I show you where to find your address of your website, do not include www. At the beginning of your website address. Don't put that on your business cards. Don't put that in your marketing materials. Don't put it in your email signature. Don't say that verbally to your clients, because the www, if you add it to the beginning of your website address, it causes an error where your website won't load. In fact, the browser will see it as a malware site, and it'll tell whoever's visiting your site, you need to get away from this site. It's bad. So do not put www at the beginning of your address once we go find that. And I'll show you guys how to find that during this class. So let me go ahead and minimize my slideshow here. There we go. So our first step is going to be to get logged into mykw.kw.com. The administration of your site is accessed through mykw. It is not accessed by logging into placester.com, and it is not accessed by logging into the front end of your website. It's actually accessed through mykw. There's no other way to access the back end of your website. So I'll give you guys a second to get logged into mykw. All right, that's about all the time I'm going to be able to spare for that. Once we're on our MyKW homepage, up in the top black menu, we're going to hover over Technology. Then we'll click on KW Websites. Right now it's the third one down. They may rearrange that, but right now it's the third one down. And then on this page, you should have a red button that says Go to my website. Now, this is our first roadblock. If you don't have this red button, unfortunately, there's not anything that we can do during the time of this class in order to get you that red button. This is the only way you can access your website administration. And if you don't have this red button, that's for one of two reasons. One is that those reasons are either your @kw.com email address doesn't exist yet, or your MLS ID hasn't been added to the white pages. The first one usually isn't an issue, especially if we did your setup for you. If we did your initial setup of all your KW technology tools, we would have created your KW email. So that's usually not a problem. Usually what holds this up is that the MLS ID needs to be added to the KW white pages. Unfortunately, that's not something that you can do for yourself. Your MCA has to do that for you. Now, there are a handful of offices that we do that for, but it is only just a handful. More than likely, you'll need to contact your MCA and have them add your MLS ID to the KW white pages. Now, once they do that, there's actually a waiting period of about 24 hours while the automatic system sets up your site and your account for you. So even if your MLS ID was added right this second, this button wouldn't show up until at least tomorrow. So unfortunately, there's nothing we can do during the time of this class. You're welcome to continue watching the class and take notes and follow along after the fact, or you can just watch the recording later once your site has been enabled. But if you do have this button, let's go ahead and click on that to go into the Placester interface. And it is pronounced Placester, not Placester or Placesetter. It's Placester. Once we're here in the Placester interface, you should see roughly this dashboard. You may have some additional tiles across the top with some messages about launching your site and IDX and whatnot. You can ignore that. If you don't see the dashboard here, really easy to get it. You'll click on this grid of 9 squares up in the top right and click on Dashboard. That should reload the page and it should show you the dashboard. Sometimes the Placester system just doesn't like to load this page the first time. Once we're on our dashboard page, the first thing we want to do is launch the site. That means send it live for the general public to be able to view rather than just you as the preview. The way to do that is just one click. Over on the left under Quick Actions, we're going to click Launch Site. Now, if you don't have Launch Site and instead it says View Live Site, that means your site is already launched. But if you do have the Launch Site link, just click on it, and that's all you need to do to launch your site. There's no settings to change, nothing to type in, nothing crazy. You click Launch, your site is launched. Once you click Launch, it's going to take you here to the list of the sites in your Placester account. Now, if your site was already launched, or if you're having trouble finding this page, whatever, it's really easy to get here. Up in the top right corner in that grid of 9 squares again, we're on Sites right here. This is the list of all your sites in your Placester account. For most agents, there should just be one site listed here, and there are a couple of exceptions to that though. The most common exception we see is where an agent has somehow found their way onto this page and they clicked the plus sign and created an additional site. Unfortunately, any additional sites that you create here are not going to be free sites. You would need to pay in order to launch them. So if you do have some additional sites in here and they're not launched and they don't say disable over here, they just say delete, and you've already got a site that's launched and it says disable, just delete those additional sites. And if you're not sure about that, definitely shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com and we can help you with that. Actually, speaking of that, the chat window over there, you should see that up at the top of the window. It's a little speech bubble right next to the microphone icon. If you'll click on that, that'll open up the chat window, and that's the way that you can send me questions. If I'm moving too quickly, or if I wasn't clear on something, or if you need to go back over something, definitely send me over a message there in the chat window. I will be monitoring that as we go through the class. The other way you might have some additional sites in this list here, besides clicking on the plus sign, is if you're a member of the commercial or farm and ranch division. The commercial division gets their own additional KW website powered by Placester, and then so does the farm and ranch. So you may have a residential site and a commercial site, and a what's that called, farm and ranch site. You used to get an additional site if you're a member of the luxury division, and if you were a member before roughly Thanksgiving last year, you probably should have an additional site for luxury. But what they did is they changed that instead to where they gave you a new theme on your existing residential site that's just for luxury agents, because luxury homes are homes. They're residential listings, so they don't actually need an additional site. They just need to revamp the existing residential site. And if you need more help with working with the commercial or farm and ranch or luxury sites there, we can definitely help you with that. Just shoot us an email, support@scottleroymarketing.com. So assuming you do have just your one site here, we're going to click on Edit Site right here to go into the administration of the site. And this is taking us to the site settings page right here. This is where we're going to spend all of our time in our Placester 101 class. If you need more information about pages and blog posts and testimonials and areas, check out our Placester 201. That's again recorded at slmtraining.com. All of our past 101 and 201 classes are recorded there. We're going to move down the page, just moving from top to bottom, and we're going to stop at custom domain, and we'll pick up on Placester 201 at site tracking. So custom domain is the last thing we're going to cover in this Placester 101, and I know you're all excited for that, but we'll get to that at the end of the class. Starting at the top with IDX integration. IDX stands for Internet Data Exchange, and the X is capitalized. I don't know why they do E. I guess that's for a different thing. I don't know. That's the connection between the MLS and your website. That's the connection that sends listing data over to your site so that those listings are searchable. By default, your site is going to be connected to the IDX for the KWLS. That's the Keller Williams Listing Service. And that means that only KW listings are going to be available to be found on your site. They will be listings from across the country, but it's only KW listings. So if you're wanting to show listings in your local area, basically only the listings from your office would be able to be found on your site. You may also have a listing here for your actual local MLS that you're a member of, and that's what we want to use instead of the KWLS. Now, if you don't have the listing for your local MLS, that means that the IDX connection needs to be set up for your site. And that's not usually super hard to do. You would want to contact your Market Center leadership for how to set up IDX for this site. There's actually 3 IDX connections that each KW agent is supposed to have, one for the KW app, one for the eEdge database, and one for the KW website here. Your office, your Market Center should be able to help with all 3 of those. Now again, just like with the MLS ID, there are a handful of offices that we set up IDX for, but the majority of the time you're going to want to reach out to your Market Center leadership first, and then if they say reach out to Scott Leroy, then we can help you out with that as well. If your MLS is listed here in this section, all you got to do is turn this switch from off to on. So you just click on that and it's going to turn off the KWLS and turn on your actual local MLS. And you'll notice only one MLS can be selected at a time. So if you're a member of multiple boards in your area, so say I'm from Pensacola, Florida, there are about 3 boards that cover about the same area. There's PAR, there's eCar, and there's, oh my gosh, NABOR, 3 boards that cover some of the same area. They have some overlap. If you're a member of more than one board, unfortunately, the KW website powered by Placester can only support showing listings from one board. So you need to make a decision about which board you want to show on your site. Now, an exception to that is if you're working in multiple market centers and those market centers are members of different boards or maybe in different states, you actually should have an additional KW site for each market center that you're a member of if they're a member of an additional board. So if you're working in a market center, say in New York and then also in New Jersey, those are going to be different boards. So you should be able to contact Placester and have the additional site for whichever new market center that you joined recently. Now, that doesn't mean that when you transfer market centers, move from one to the other, you get a new site. You actually just need to move over the IDX for the new market center. Anyway, so once you've got your market center, your actual MLS selected, you want to make sure to click the green Save button. This Save button is required to save any changes that you make to your site. Without clicking this, if you click Dismiss or if you click outside the section you're working in, any changes you made would not be applied to your site and you'd need to redo them. So make sure to click Save after you make any changes there. Once you've got your MLS selected, you want to go down to Global Filters. And this is about the extent of what we're going to show you in Global Filters. Actually, you know what? Before we go in here, let me illustrate the difference here. Global Filters and Featured Listings look very similar, but they act very differently. Global Filters controls what listings are possible to be found using the listing search on your site. So if you put something really narrow in Global Filters, say just one specific zip code, if someone were searching on your site for something outside that zip code, they wouldn't be able to find it. You'd be limiting the amount of business that you could get through your site. So you don't want to be very narrow in Global Filters. In fact, the only thing we're going to show you how to set in Global Filters is the state, because Placester just recently made a change to the way IDX integration works. You have to come to Global Filters here to select which state you want to work in. Or which state you're licensed in. And then featured listings instead, you do want to be very narrow with. This is choosing which listings show on the home page of your site. And this is a good time to show you how to view your site. Really easy to do. We're going to scroll up to the top, and over here on the right side, we've got View Live Site. If you click on that, that's going to open your site in a new tab. You've got tabs up here on the browser here. So this is what Scott's site looks like currently. If you guys want to see that for yourselves, it's scottleroymarketing.kw.com. And this is featured properties right here. This is where you want to be very narrow. By default, this page is going to show the highest price listings in your entire MLS, but you can control what listings it shows here, how they're sorted, things like that. And we'll cover that in just a couple of minutes. For now, we're going to go into Global Filters, and I'll show you how to set the state that you're licensed in. We're going to stay with filtered listings. We're not going to do all listings, just filtered. And we're going to come down to Add Search Criteria, and in this drop-down, we're going to select State. Once we select State, we'll do Add, and now we're just going to type the name of our state. This is in Arkansas, this board. You would do whatever state you're working in. So, apparently, it wants the abbreviation here, so AR. And then now we'll click search, and it should show that same number of, Arkansas down here. And then you want to make sure to scroll down and click save right here. That's all the changes that we recommend making to your global filters. If you want more information about more specific changes you want to make to global filters, definitely shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com. We're just not going to cover that in this class because that's all we recommend is just choosing the state that you work in. Under that, in featured listings, this is where we're going to show you how to have more control over what listings show on your home page. Now, I do want to point out this note right here from Placester. Each theme has a different number of blog posts and featured listings that are allowed to be displayed on the home page. You can click on this link here to learn about those layouts by the theme that you've chosen. So each theme has a different number that can show on the home page. With the KW specific themes, the Madison and the Madison Metro, which is what we're going to cover next, you can only show 4 listings on the home page, but there's at least one other theme that can show up to 16 listings on the home page, and we'll talk more about that as we get there. So Yeah, let's just scroll down here to look at our settings here. So these look very similar. Actually, this is supposed to be like that. So these look very similar to the global filters that we were just looking at. And in fact, they function the same way, they just do different things. So this is where you can get really narrow with the listings you want to show on your home page. Say you are wanting to work with, I don't know, first-time home buyers, people that are not looking to spend, you know, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 on a home. You might want to set a maximum price of $275K. That's about the high end of what first-time homebuyers are going to be looking for. You may even want to lower that to 250 or 225 depending on your area, or raise it to 300 depending on your area. And then you would apply that, and then on your homepage, the highest price listing that could possibly show is 275K. Now on the listing search page, they could find listings higher than that, but on the homepage, it's going to show a maximum of 275K. You could also say, you know, you're doing real estate part-time, you've got kids, you've got another job, you've got community involvements, and you don't want to be doing a lot of work, and you don't want to be doing it very far from home. You could put in just your zip code right here, and I have no idea what the zip codes are for Arkansas. There we go, 71602. I have no idea where that is, but that's what we're going to put in, 71602. Okay, going to put in that zip code, and so on the home page is what's going to be found is just listings for this one zip code, so that you may not have to travel quite as far from home because you don't want to do much traveling. You could also, let's remove that, come down to add search criteria here, and you could say, okay, I want to work in this really nice subdivision. It's not a luxury subdivision, but it's, you know, it's got good homes, it's got a good school system, it's got good ratings, you know, all that fun stuff. And this is where I want to focus on when I work. So you would come to add search criteria, click subdivision right here. Over on the right, click add, and then you would type in the name of your subdivision. I'm just going to put in an E. Nope, that's not working. S. Nope. T. Apparently it's not giving me the name of subdivisions. Okay, theoretically it should drop down the names of subdivisions. As you start typing the name, you would just click on the name, and then it would show only listings from that certain subdivision on your home page. You can get as specific with this as you want. I'm going to do just some generic minimum baths. This is going to be, you know, a little above investment homes, probably starter homes, minimum baths to minimum beds to minimum price 100K, max price 300K. Something like that. And if I search down here, this is going to give me a preview of the types of listings that are going to show on my homepage. Oh, one last thing to show you is default sort here. So by default, the homes that are shown on your homepage are going to be highest price first from the criteria that you're choosing up here. You can sort these differently. You can show lowest price first. Say you're wanting to work with a lot of investment properties or flippers or things like that. You could do lowest price first. You can do days on site newest, so you always have the freshest listings on the MLS that meet these criteria on your homepage. You could also have the oldest, the stalest listings that maybe you can get a better deal for your clients on this homepage here. You can do most beds or baths. You can also do year built, newest, or oldest. So say you want to work with new construction, you want to show that on your homepage, you would choose that here. You could also do, say I want to work with really old homes, antique homes, whatever they're called, vintage, I don't even know what they're called, old homes. You could show those on your homepage first here. I'm going to do year built newest. I want to work with new construction. So it's going to show me brand new homes on the homepage first. Then we'll make sure to click save down here at the bottom. So now if I come back to my site and I click refresh, now under this featured properties section, these are going to be the newest year built homes in apparently all of Arkansas. That are under 300K and over 100K and minimum 2 beds and 2 baths. If you need more help with that featured listings section, just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com. We actually have a class specifically for featured listings we can send to you. Under that, we're going to skip open house info because it doesn't apply to your sites. If you need more information about what this is, just shoot us that email. We can explain it further for you. But this doesn't apply to your site. You don't really need to know how this works. Under that, we've got our site design section, and we're going to open up theme selection. This is where you can change the look and feel of your site, the arrangement and the colors and the fonts and things like that. Now, that can sound a little bit misleading because you're very limited to what you can change about the way your site is arranged and the way it looks. Basically, you choose your theme and that's it. You can't drag and drop, you can't change fonts, you can't move things around, you can't resize things. You choose your theme and that's what you get. There's no way to add additional content to the homepage. There's no way to add widgets. There's no way to add a news section. There's no way to add your Facebook feed. What you see is what you get on your theme when you choose it. By default, what's going to be selected is the Madison theme. This is a KW specific theme. There are two themes that are KW specific. Only KW agents get these two themes. We've got the Madison, which is selected by default, and then the Madison Metro, which is a little bit cleaner looking, more white space versus colored space on the site. I'm going to leave it as the Madison right here just to show you what that looks like, but there are 6 additional themes that you can choose from right here, and you're choosing your theme based on the layout, the way things are arranged on the page and the way things are sized and things like that. Do not choose your theme based on this picture that's showing behind or above the search bar right here. You control what this picture is. In fact, you can set up to 5 pictures that are going to rotate here on your home page. So you're choosing your theme based on everything except these pictures. You control these pictures right here. So if you really like the way that the Plymouth is laid out, but you don't like this picture, that's fine. You can change that picture. I'm going to leave the Madison selected though. Under that, we can choose some colors, and most of the themes, I think all the themes, will let you choose some colors. In fact, some of the themes let you choose color combinations. On the Madison theme, you're choosing a solid color here, and this is changing the color that shows up in this top bar here and the search bar and some of the text and links on your site. When you click on this, it'll change the preview up here to show you what that's roughly going to look like here. You know, I like this gray color right here. Under that, we've got where we can choose specifically on the Madison. This isn't available on the Metro or on any other themes, but the Madison specifically, you can choose to have a solid color header bar up here, or you can choose to have a white header bar with accents of the color you've chosen right here. Now, changing this isn't going to change what the preview looks like right here. You're just going to have to see this in your mind's eye or save it and go check your site, and we'll go look at that in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and select that to show you show you guys what that looks like. And then on the Madison and the Madison Metro themes, no other themes, just those 2 KW themes, you can choose what this text right here above the search bar says. Again, with the themes, you can't change the font, you can't change the color, you can't change the size, you can't change the placement. You're only choosing what the text actually says. And you have a maximum of 60 characters that you can put in right here. Normally, when we set these sites up for you, we're going to put in your home search starts here. You can also do something like your local real estate resource. You can do something like you know, jump in with me or something like that, whatever you want to do. You can also leave this blank and it'll show this default, the best place to find your home. If you want it not to show anything at all, unfortunately, you're going to have to contact Placester support to do that because there's not a way for you in your interface here to remove the text completely. And if you need information about contacting Placester, just let us know. Once you've got your options set here in your theme and you've chosen what you want, make sure to click Save down here at the bottom. And then you can come back to your site and refresh it and see what we're looking like here. There we go. We've got our Madison theme selected with the white background up here, and it's got that gray color for our links right here and for our search bar and for this text. That's what changing the theme does. Jumping back over to our Placester backend interface, we're going to come down here to slideshow. Remember when I said not to choose your theme based on the images that show here behind the search bar? This is where you control that. There are some pre-made themes, or excuse me, slideshows that they have here for you. There are actually 5 of them. I think maybe 6 actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 5 slideshows here. And each slideshow can have up to 5 images in it. It can have just 1 and just be static, but it can have anywhere from 1 to 5. Maximum is 5, and you can only have 1 slideshow selected at a time. So you can only ever have 5 images sliding there behind your search bar. By default, this interiors is going to be selected, but you can come down and select any of their other ones here. Excuse me, when we set up sites for you guys, generally we're going to select mid-priced homes here. We just click select right here, scroll down, Scroll down, there we go, and click Save. You can also modify any of their existing slideshows here. You can change the name, you can upload a new picture in place of whatever's right here, you can remove pictures if you don't like a particular picture but you like the rest. You can change the caption, which shows over here in the bottom left here. Again, can't change that placement, can't change the size, can't change the color. It's always going to be here and this size in white text. You just control what it says, if anything. You can also apply a link to the images that are on the slideshow on your homepage. And to illustrate that, I'm going to show you guys my site. I don't know. This is my site from when I was the ASC in, what's that called? Pensacola. I wish I could go back to Pensacola. And you'll notice on this image right here, as I hover here, I've got the little finger icon, which means that there's a link applied to this image. So if I click on this previous image here, this is an image of the downtown area. It's actually the Bay Center, the convention center. If I click on that, that's going to open up the Downtown Association website. And that's because I applied a link to that image. And you can do that by pasting in the full http:// and everything else.com. I'm going to leave that cleared there. You can also, if you come down here and click Cancel, you can also create your own slideshow. You can start from scratch, upload your own 5 images. Now, if you're going to upload your own images, I want to point out this link right here. Please visit this help article for image resizing tips and to learn ideal slideshow dimensions for each Placester theme. This page tells you what size your images need to be in order to fit properly on your site, depending on the theme that you've chosen. Now, the themes that they leave out of this list, because they are KW specific, are the Madison and the Madison Metro. Those match the, whenever this loads, those match the, right here, the Fremont. They need to be 1600 pixels wide by 500 pixels tall. Much, much wider than they are tall. And if your images don't meet those dimensions, I'll show you what happens when that, I'll show you what happens in that case in just a minute. So we are going to, there we go, leave that open. Gosh. Okay. So on this page, we're going to go ahead and click our plus sign to create a new slideshow here. We're going to name this, you can name it anything you want to. I'm going to name it Placester, 101, 18, 06, 06. There we go. And you can upload, again, up to 5 images. And I'm going to upload 5 images here just to show you what happens. I've got some images that are properly proportioned. They're much wider than they are tall. And then I've also got some images that are improperly proportioned that aren't going to work properly with the site. And I'll show you what happens in that case. And then I'm also going to go ahead and apply a caption and a link to this first image. There we go. So once you've got all our images uploaded, you've got whatever captions or links applied here. And I'm not expecting you to be able to upload your images and add captions in the time of this class. Definitely refer back to the recording and follow along with that point. But I'm just going to have to move forward because we do have limited time here. Once you've got all that uploaded, we're going to click Save down here at the bottom. And now if I refresh the site here, now we've got our new images in the slideshow right here. So this image, no, go back. This image right here is properly proportioned. It's a lot wider than it is tall. It's maybe a little bit too tall. It cut off the top and bottom a little bit, but you can definitely tell what's going on in this image the way that you're supposed to. Down here is where our caption shows right here. And then if I click on this, it's going to take me over to the Scott Leroy Marketing website because I applied that link to the image. Now, I do want to show you, there's another image, another couple of images here. There we go here. This looks like a pair of boots. No, I didn't mean to click that, dang it. I clicked on the image instead of the little button to move along the slideshow here. There we go. So this looks like a pair of boots, and I'm just going to open up the image that this is supposed to be for you guys. Where is that? So this is the full image, and because it's too tall, it's cutting it off here and about here. It's only showing you the middle 500 pixels. And that's what happens when your image is too tall for the slideshow. It cuts off the top and bottom. So you want to make sure your image is not too tall. Now, if your image is too wide, that's not a problem because the image is just going to shrink it down proportionally to fit in the width that it needs to there. It's not going to cut anything off. But if it's too tall, it's going to cut off the top and bottom there. Same with this. Is this the right one? Yeah, this is a lighthouse, and I'm going to show you guys what that looks like here, the full image. This is the full image here. It's a beautiful image. Unfortunately, it's the wrong proportions. It's way, way, way too tall. So it's only showing me about this section right here. It's only showing me the middle 500 pixels here. And you can't even tell what this image is unless you already knew that it was a lighthouse. So again, your images need to be a lot wider than they are tall. And on this page here for the slideshow, this page right here, this help article, has very detailed step-by-step instructions from Placester about how to resize and crop your images to the proper dimensions. Okay, coming back out of here, we're going to drop down to certifications. This is probably the easiest thing I'm going to show you here. Certifications, you can show up to 6 on your site. They'll show at the bottom of your site. They can't be moved up to the top or in the middle or to the About page or anything. They're going to show at the bottom of the site, can't be moved. You can show up to 6 and you just click on what's that called? Certification to select it. So you see that blue border around it, that means that one's selected. Now, if you're in the United States, 2 of these certifications are mandatory to show on your site. You have to show the Equal Housing Opportunity logo on your site, and you have to show the National Association of Realtors logo on your site if you're a member of the National Association of Realtors, which most agents are. If you're not, you don't have to show that one, but you do have to show the Equal Housing Opportunity. And that leaves open 4 or 5 additional options that you can select if you've earned additional designations. Now, if you haven't earned these designations and you select them, you could get in trouble. So I would not recommend selecting designations that you haven't actually earned or that you're in the process of earning. You have to wait until you actually pass the test and receive confirmation that you have that designation in order to select it and show it on your site. Once you've got the designations that you want selected, you'll click Save, come back to your site and refresh it. And they're going to show down at the very bottom here. Here's our Equal Housing, here's our National Association of Realtors. Coming down to social networks, this is where you're going to add links to your various social media profiles on your website. And depending on the theme that you've chosen, they're going to show up in different places. In the Madison theme here, they're going to show up in the top left. But if you choose a different theme, like maybe the Fremont, I think it's called, there's a ribbon that drops down near the search bar right here. I didn't mean to click anything. There's a ribbon that drops down here, and that's where the social media icons are going to go. So where they go, it depends on the theme. You can't rearrange them. They can't be moved, can't be made a different color, can't be made a different size. They're going to be dependent on the theme. So in these boxes here, you'll notice none of them have the full http://.com/. It only wants the part after the first slash. So if your Facebook URL is facebook.com/ScottLeroyMarketing, all it wants in there is Scott Leroy Marketing. If your Twitter profile is twitter.com/Scott Leroy Marketing or it's at Scott Leroy Marketing, all it wants in there is Scott Leroy Marketing, nothing else. Same for LinkedIn, but this is a little bit different here. On LinkedIn profile links, it's linkedin.com/in/ and then the rest of your custom URL there. It wants everything after the first slash. All of these want everything after the first slash. Any additional slashes need to be in there. Same for YouTube. There's going to be something after the first slash and then additional slashes, when you're copying your YouTube link in here. Now for YouTube, that is a little bit of a special case. You can link to an individual video in here. You can link to your channel. If you had a profile before they changed it to /C or /channel, it might be /user. Whatever you've got after the first slash is what's going to go in this box right here. And if you need help finding your public social media profile links to add to your site, I just sent you guys over a message in the chat window there with a link to a video showing you how to do that. And if you're watching on a recording, any of the links that I send to the class that's live here, you can definitely send us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com and we can send you those links as well. Once you've got your social media links in there, you want to click Save. And again, they're going to show up in the top left of your site if you've chosen the Madison theme. And also, you can't change out the icons. We had someone contact us, I don't like the Facebook icon. Well, it's not your icon. It's what Facebook has set as their icon, and that's what it has to be. Anyway, Dropping down here to search form. This is a fun little section depending on the theme that you've chosen. If you've chosen the Madison theme here, and I believe it's just the Madison, I think the Metro has some additional options. We may have to check that. But if you've chosen the Madison theme, the only option you've got is the Omnibox with autosuggest. And this functions very similar to the search box on Zillow or Realtor.com or any of the other big real estate search sites where you just type in what you're looking for. You type in the address, you type in the zip code, you type in beds, baths, price, square feet, and it would come up with results that meet those criteria rather than clicking different drop downs, one for price, one for zip code, one for beds, one for baths, all that fun stuff. So if you're using the Madison theme, there's not really anything to do here. You just click next and save. Now, if you wanted to have one of those other drop down based search bars there, you would need to change your theme away from the Madison, or I think the Madison Metro. I think the Metro only has the Omnibox as well now that I think about it. So I'm going to choose the Plymouth here. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to come back to our search form here, and now I have some additional options. You'll notice the Omnibox is still available. Most of the other themes do have the Omnibox available, and you can use that with the other themes. It used to be only applicable to the Madison and the Madison Metro, but I guess Placester changed that. You can also select one of these other drop-down based search bars here, and all you're choosing here is which box is shown first. Is it price, city, zip, or neighborhood? Price is the most common, that's why they have it at the top here, so I'm going to select that and click next. And then on this next page, you have the option to show just, again, those 4 search boxes, or excuse me, drop-down boxes on the listing search page rather than the home page. Or you can add additional boxes up to, I think it's 11 right here, or 11, on the listing search page. So this is only for the listing search page after they've searched on the home page, or if they click on listing search on the menu. On the home page, it's only going to show those 4. So we'll click Save here, and as I come back to Scott's site and refresh it, now we've got that new theme applied, got that new search box there, and this is showing me 4 search boxes on the home page. If I were to click search, or if I go to search for properties, or listing search as it may be, it'll show me those additional drop downs right here. So that's what that looks like. Now, one fun little glitch about the search box here. Say you decided to change to a different theme so that you could have one of those drop down based search boxes, and you selected that, and you decide, no, I want to go back to the Madison theme and back to the Omnibox, and you just go back to your theme selection and you select the Madison and you save that. What happens is the theme will try to retain those drop down boxes. In fact, let me go back over here. Oh, I didn't know that. That's a new thing I need to show you guys. The theme will try to retain those drop-down boxes, but it looks really funny. It tries to fit them in the space that the Omnibox is supposed to go. These are still functional. They can actually select options in these drop-downs and click search, but it looks really funny. The search bar is way out of proportion. And then if they were to go to the listing search page, again, those drop downs are available there, but it looks really funny because they're all on their own line, so it looks really weird. So what you would have to do in this situation is come back to the search form section and just resave the Omnibox. So now if I come back to the home page, now I've got my Omnibox back. So that's just a fun little glitch. I'm not sure why Placester hasn't changed that. I guess it's not high on their priority list, like a lot of things. So just wanted to show you that that's what happens if you change back to the Madison. Dropping down here to the menu, we're going to get a little bit more hands-on. I know I've been a lot of pontificating, but there's really not a lot of things that I can ask you to do with me. But in here, this is one of those things. So the menu here, this is where you're choosing the links that show up here in the top menu: home, search for properties, contact about, blog. Those are added here by default when the site is created. One that's not added by default is down here in this drop down right here. We've got your favorite listings. This is a page that's automatically created on your site, but for some reason it's not added to the menu. It's a really neat page. This is for people that have registered on your site and saved properties. This page is going to show them a list of those properties that they've saved. So this is your favorite properties as the client rather than your as the agent's favorite properties. If you wanted to show your featured listings all on one page, you could create a featured listings page, which we cover in our Placester 201, but that's not something that you can, but that's not what this page is right here. So we're going to add this your favorite listings page here by clicking on this add button here, and now that's added to the menu. And you can also drag and drop the items here in the menu by clicking and dragging, and you can move them around. You can change the order. You can also create a level level of submenu here on the menu here. So if I dragged your favorite listings on top of listing search here, you see that dotted line that's around listing search now? That means when I release my mouse button, your favorite listings is going to be indented under listing search, so that now there's going to be a submenu on the home page. I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. We're also going to add the last option here, which is a custom URL. That means that you can link to any page anywhere on the entire internet on your menu. So you can link to internal pages on your site, you can link to an event page on Facebook, you could link to your partner's website, you could link to your market center's website, you could link to your downtown association, you could link to whatever community organization you're a group of, you could link to your church if you're really active there. You can add a link excuse me, to anywhere in your menu. So we're going to click Add next to our custom menu option, and these boxes here is what we're going to fill in. The label is what the text is going to say on the actual menu button itself. So we're going to add a link to your personalized branded KW app. So I'm going to call this Download My App. You can put anything you want to in this box, free home search app, search homes on the go free, things like that, whatever you want in this label. And then in the URL here, this is where we're going to put your personalized branded KW app page. And to get that, we're going to have to go back to My KW, which should still be open in another tab here. I hope you didn't close that. But if you did close it, just open up a new tab, go back to your My KW homepage. Back on the My KW homepage, in your eEdge control panel right here in this top center section, we've got My Marketing. Just to the right of that, we've got this plus sign here. We'll click on that plus sign and then click on Manage eAgency Website. Now don't get confused by that website where this site was retired 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, and is not used anymore. Forget about the eAgency website. The only reason this exists anymore is because the KW app is administered through this interface. And I actually can't show you what this looks like because Scott doesn't have the agent role in the white pages, so I'm going to have to talk you through it. It's not super hard. Just click on Manage eAgency Website there. Once the eAgency interface loads, over on the left, you're going to have section 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.0. You're going to click on section 4.0 to expand that. Once that's expanded, you're going to click on section 4.5, Mobile Property Search. On that page, right in the center, there should be a drop down there where you select your market center, and if we did your setup for you, we would have selected that already. And then when you select your market center, there's going to be a link that generates just below that. That's http://app.kw.com/KW . That is your personalized app link. That KW part, that is your personalized app code. Every agent gets their own individual personalized KW app link and code. What you're going to do is highlight and copy that full http://app.kw.com/KW, whatever's after that. And then you're going to come back over to your Placester interface here, and you're going to paste in that full link, the http://app.kw.com/KW, whatever your code is after that. I'm going to remove this here just to show you what the actual app page looks like, because that is not an actual app code. What was I saying there? And that's going to go to your personalized branded app. Now under that, the tooltip is optional. You don't have to put in a tooltip. It's not required. I'm going to put in a tooltip here just to show you what it looks like. And if you do put in a tooltip, it's up to you what goes in there. There's nobody telling you what you have to put in a tooltip. You don't have to put a tooltip if you don't want to. Now, once you've got everything in there that you want, we're not clicking Add. That would add an additional menu item with a custom URL. We're not creating a new menu item. Instead, we're clicking Save down here to apply the changes that we've made. So now if I come back to Scott's site and refresh it, now under Search for Properties, we've got that nested Your Favorite Listings here in the drop-down menu. And for the drop-downs here, you can only create one level of drop-down. So you can nest Your Favorite Listings under Search for Properties, but you can't nest anything under Your Favorite Listings to have an additional drop-down. You can also list additional things under Search for Properties. You can make this basically as long as you want and have more things under Search for Properties. You've also got the Download My App link here, button here. And if I hover over this, you notice that little box that drops down under my cursor that says this is a tooltip. That's what the tooltip's for. You don't have to put a tooltip in there. You can if you want to. And now if I click on Download My App, it's going to open up the KW app download page. And if you click on that, it should take you to your personalized KW app download page. It'll show your name, your picture, your service area right here, and people can download your app from this page. If they're on their phone, it'll take them directly to the App Store and they can download the app from there. Okay, where were we? Site info. This is where we're going to spend the majority of the rest of our time here. This is where you're putting in your contact information for the site and your market center's contact information. Most of this is pretty self-explanatory except for this top section here, and I'll show you where that information goes. For brand name, this is going to show up here near the top of your site, depending on the theme that you've chosen, in pretty big text right here. It's usually going to be right next to whatever logo you've uploaded. So for brand name here, typically we recommend just putting in your name, and if we're setting up the site for you, that's what we'll do. We'll put in your name. If you're a member or the lead agent on a team, this is a great place to put your team name. You cannot leave this blank though. There has to be some text in this brand name, even if it's just a space. There has to be something in this box. And if you just don't want to show the brand name on the home page, you can actually just leave this checkbox right here unchecked, display name and tagline. Leave it unchecked and it's not going to show either of these boxes on the home page. You don't have to show that on the home page. There just has to be something in this box. Under that, we've got the tagline or the subtitle here, or the, what's it called, catchphrase, motto, mantra, whatever you've got. That would go in this box here. Usually we put in your local real estate expert or your local real estate resource right here. You can put anything you want to in here, or you could leave this blank. This can be blank. It's just the brand name can't be. Under that, we've got a section where we can upload our logo. You can choose your personal logo or a KW logo in here. You can upload the file you want right here. It'll accept JPEG, PNG, TIFF, GIF, all those fun image files there. Or, and we're not going to recommend this because it doesn't really work the way that it's supposed to, you can come over and select a KW logo. For a while it wasn't working at all, it wouldn't load. But then also if you open this up, not all market centers have their KW logo in this section. So it's actually best usually just to go upload your own market center logo right here. Now if you're not sure how to find your market center logo, we actually have a class specifically for that. And I just sent you that link there in the chat window there that'll show you how to go download your specific market center logo. You can also upload your own personal logo if you've got one. Now I do want to point out this is the size that it's going to show, can't be any bigger. So if your designer sends over the logo with a whole bunch of white space around it, and I think they do that just to show you what the logo will look like all by itself without any clutter. If they send over the logo with a bunch of white space around it, you're going to have to crop all that white space out or else it's going to show really tiny there on your home page. So you want to make sure to crop it as close to the actual logo as possible. If you need help with that, I definitely recommend referring back to that link for the slideshow where it shows you how to crop an image. We don't offer that service, but you should be able to do that yourself without too much trouble. You can also decide not to display a logo on your homepage, whether it's the KW logo or any other logo. You can just uncheck that. Most times we recommend checking both of these boxes so that it does show at the top of your site. Now, one thing about the logo, a couple of things about the logo. There's a logo shown here, and it still shows the upload file button here. I had a question a while ago from a lady who thought, okay, since there's a logo here and it's still showing me the upload file button, that means I can upload a second logo. I can show two logos on the website. No, that's not the case. You upload a logo here, it replaces whatever logo is in this spot right here. If you want to show both your logo and your Market Center logo on your site, they need to be combined into one image. Your logo or the Market Center logo on top and one underneath. We don't offer that service, but if you can find maybe a designer or someone who knows Photoshop in your office, they should be able to combine your logo and your Market Center logo in the same image, one on top of the other, and you can upload that in this spot right here. And then the other thing to note about the logo here is most market centers, about half of them, have a requirement of the Market Center logo that needs to be displayed on your website for compliance reasons. So if your market center, check with your market center leadership to make sure that the proper logo is being displayed on your site. Now, if your market center doesn't have a logo that has to be shown for compliance reasons, feel free to uncheck that box or to upload your own logo. But if it does have a logo that has to be shown for compliance reasons, you have to upload that logo in this spot. And if you want to show your logo also, you would have to combine them into that single image like we said. Under that, we've got the favicon section here. This image is going to show up here in the browser tab as this teeny tiny 16 by 16 pixels, really tiny. And to give you an example, this is the Placester favicon right here. It's that stylized geometric P. This is the KW favicon right here, red box, white KW text right here. If you don't upload a favicon, this is what's going to be shown instead, this little folded down empty page. So we've got a favicon that we can send to you guys. Just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com. It's the same favicon image that KW uses. It's the same one right here, same thing. You can upload any image file here. This is not recommended to upload your picture because, again, it's showing exactly this size. Even if you upload your picture and it shows it bigger, in the browser it's only showing it this size up here, teeny tiny, and people aren't going to be able to tell that's you. So maybe you could upload your logo in this spot if you've got a personal logo and you don't want to use the KW favicon, but that would have to be a simple logo, maybe just some simple text or a simple shape, maybe a home or a key, whatever. If your logo is really stylized, loopy, you know, what's it called, cursive text, and it's your name and it's this big long, it's not going to work very well in the favicon spot. It has to be very simple because it's very tiny. Under that, contact details, pretty self-explanatory, your name, your email, your phone, your picture. And upload a picture of Scott. Doesn't Scott look like Tom Felton? Next time you see him, tell him that. He loves hearing that. Actually, I don't know whether he loves it or not, but it's funny to me, so tell him that. What was I saying there? So your contact information, your picture right here, really self-explanatory. A couple of things to note. The email spot right here can only support one email. You could put in additional emails here, but what happens is on your site, actually, let me save this just to show you what that looks like. On your site, it's going to show a link that says email me. It's not going to display your actual email address here. That can't be changed. It will only ever say email me. And what happens here is if someone clicks on this link, it'll open up their default mail program and start a message to whatever email address you put in that box. If you put in multiple email addresses, that's not going to work. It'll try to mush them together into one email address and it wouldn't send it to anybody. Also for the phone number, it does display the phone number here, and you could show multiple phone numbers here, but the way this works is if someone is viewing your site on their mobile device, if they tap on that number, it's going to start a call to that number. So if you put in multiple phone numbers, it's going to try to dial all those digits all at once, and it's not going to go through. So if you're a member of a team or a partnership, husband-wife team, whatever, and you've got 2 email addresses and 2 phone numbers, unfortunately, they can't both be displayed on the same site. You would need to figure out some kind of team email and team phone number to show here in this section that would maybe forward or ring through to both of you. Going back into site info here. Oh, also, for the picture that you upload, depending on the theme, it's going to move it around to different places on the page, different sizes, whatever. If you're using the Madison theme, it's always going to crop it to a circle right here based on the center of the image. So if you upload your image into that site info section and it's cutting off the top of your head, maybe right at your eyebrows or something, and you don't like that, I've sent you guys a video there that shows you how to fix that. You have to change the crop on the image prior to uploading it. You can't change it once it's been uploaded. There's no drag and drop. There's no little corners to drag. You can't change the crop of the image. You have to do it before it's uploaded. So I just sent you guys that. Where are we? Okay, moving down here, office details. Again, pretty self-explanatory. You put your office name here. And if your office has a specific DBA name, doing business as, that's required to be shown on your site, definitely check with them. Make sure that you've got the correct name on your site here. For email and phone, when we set up sites for you guys, we just copy down your email and your phone number into these sections here. In fact, the email could be left blank because there's not a spot to click on to email your office. I'm not even sure why that box is there. For the phone number, that does display on your site. Now, my personal feeling about this, and this is not the feeling of Scott Leroy Marketing, this is not what we do when we set up sites for you. My personal email is to put in your market center's contact information, because if they're on your site and they're seeing this market center contact information, that means they've scrolled past at the very least 3 opportunities to contact you. There is the contact information in the top right of your site, there's the contact page linked in the menu, and every single page has its own contact form on it. That means they've scrolled past 3 options to contact you looking for this market center contact information. So if you put your phone number in here and they're trying to to reach your office because you were on a listing appointment or you were on the other line or you were unavailable otherwise, you don't want your market center to lose that lead and lose that profit share, which you might get some of, depending on your profit share tree. So I recommend putting your actual market center contact information into these boxes, but when we set up sites for you, we put in your contact information. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that down here. And then again, market center address. Oops. Whatever you got there. Down here for the SEO section, SEO stands for search engine optimization, and that is helping your site rank better on search engines. Everything that you create in your site, every blog post, every page, every testimonial, and every area page has its own meta title and meta description. So hopefully through Placester 201, you're going to get familiar with what the meta title and the meta description do. I'm going to describe what they are and show you what they look like here as we work on this section. This is working on the home page of your site, the meta title and description. The meta title shows in two places. One is up here in the browser tab. It shows whatever you put in this box is what it's going to show here. If you don't put anything in this box, it's going to show what's in this box up here in the browser tab. It also shows on search engine results. It's the blue link that people actually click on in order to visit your site. You're telling the search engine what to display in this spot right here. So again, if you don't put anything in this meta title box here, it's going to show this instead, whatever you got in your brand name. So for meta title, the general rule of thumb is keep everything important and specific up front and then get less important and less specific as you move over to the right. Because for search engines, you've got a soft limit of about 55 characters before it truncates it using a ... Each search engine is a little bit different. Some may add or remove one character or another before it truncates the ... But 55 is about the norm. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what Google does. So you want to keep the important stuff up front so that if it does truncate it, the important stuff is shown here. Where am I going here? So typically when I write a meta title, I start with the name of the site. So this is Scott Leroy. Oops. Or the team name or whatever. Start with that. I move over to the purpose of the site, what you're actually doing on the site. And then from there, a lot of agents put in their phone number here just so that people can give them a call directly from the search engine results page, and that's okay if you want to do that. You don't have to. It may or may not help your search engine ranking. After that, you can get a lot less specific, and roughly right about where my cursor is actually is about 55 characters. So anything after this is probably going to be truncated. So I can put in my office name here, and it's showing in the browser tab, but it's not going to show it on the search engine result. Oops. Now down here for the meta description, that shows only on the search engine results page, and it's this gray text underneath the blue link on the search engine results page. So this area is not the place to put in quote-unquote meta tags. Meta tags fell out of fashion 10 years ago, a good while ago, and search engines don't really care very much about them anymore. They don't not care, but they don't care very much. More what search engines are looking for is the content of your site, not quote-unquote meta tags. So this is not the place to put in, homes for sale in Orlando, property for sale in Orlando, land for sale in Orlando. Saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over, but just changing one word. That's not what this is for anymore. Instead, this needs to be a helpful, human-readable description of what's going to be found on your site prior to actually clicking on the link and visiting your site. Because again, this shows two actual real-life people in the search engine results when you show up on search engine rankings here. So you've got a good bit more room here, almost 3 times as much room here. You've got 155 characters before it truncates it with the ... also. So you can be more verbose here. And you can use your quote-unquote tags in this description. Just use it in natural, human-readable language. So something like Scott Leroy, that's a tag, is your local resource to buy, that's a tag, or sell, oops, hold on, buy, sell, that's a tag, or invest in real estate, that's a tag, in Winter Park, Orlando, and the surrounding areas, something like that. Winter Park's a tag, Orlando's a tag. So you can use your quote-unquote tags, just use natural human readable language. Once you've got your title and your description and all your information in here, make sure to click Save, and we'll show you what all of that looks like at once on the site. What I'm not going to be able to show you is what that looks like on search engine results, because search engines have billions and billions of pages to scan through before they show the search engine results, in order to index search engine results, and your site is not important enough to index immediately. Facebook is important enough to index immediately. Google is important, or it's not Google. KW is important enough to index immediately. The IRS is important enough to index immediately. But your site is brand new. It's small. It doesn't have a lot of traffic. It doesn't have a lot of backlinks. So it doesn't have many Google quote-unquote points, basically. It's not important enough to index immediately. So it has to go through the regular cycle of indexing all the billions of pages that are out there. So it may take up to 3 weeks for any changes you make to the meta title and the meta description to show on search engine results, and it may take that long for that to affect your search engine ranking. So if anybody promises that they can get you to the first page of Google overnight, take that with a very, very large grain of salt, because in my opinion, they're selling snake oil, because search engines don't care that much about your site because it's new. So the rest of the changes that we made, here's the meta title up here in the browser tab, Scott Leroy, search firms for sale, phone number, all that fun stuff. Here's our brand name. Here's our subtitle right here. Over here is our contact information that we put in and our picture. Here's that logo that we uploaded. Scroll down to the bottom here. Here's our Market Center contact information. Again, on the home page here, they scrolled past 1, 2, 3, 4 opportunities to contact you on just the home page. Every other page has at least 3. So if they're looking for that Market Center contact information, they are actually intending to contact the Market Center. Where was I? Okay, so we just finished up site info. Language, we don't even really need to cover because there's nothing to select here. If you speak anything besides English, English Canadian, or French Canadian, you're out of luck. If you write content on your site in Spanish or French or anything else, unfortunately, that's not an option here. Dropping down here to more, auto-publish is grayed out because that is an upgraded feature. The content that's on your site when it's created, the 4 blog posts that are created by default, that's all that Placester is ever going to add to your site. KW is not going to add anything additional to your site. SLM is not going to add anything additional to your site. Any new blog content is up to you to post, unless you decide to sign up for this upgrade package from Placester, and they can auto-publish some content on your website at regular intervals. I don't know how much this costs. You would kind of want to contact Placester directly about that feature. Under that, we've got lead capture. This is one of the most important things we're going to cover in this class, and I'm sorry that I had to leave it for last, but it's just the way that things are arranged. This is the way that your site is going to capture leads and how it's going to notify you of when those leads come in. You've got 2 options for capturing leads. You've got passively capture leads, which is selected by default, which means that visitors can view as many property details as they want without submitting a contact form or without submitting a pop-up lead capture form on your site. That means they could view as many properties as they want, and they could potentially leave without you ever knowing they were there. They never had to submit a contact form. Then you've got aggressively capture leads, which means in order to view any property details, they have to fill out a lead capture form before viewing a single one. That means that they could potentially say, oh, I don't want to fill out my information back, I'll go somewhere else. Neither of these is perfect. I do want to point out, and this is completely 100% up to you, definitely follow the model for adding an expense in The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller, KW founder. Think very hard about adding this upgrade package, because I think it's about $90 a month in order to customize your lead capture settings. You want to make certain that you know that every month this upgrade package is going to bring in more income than it's costing you. There isn't an upgrade package that lets you customize these lead capture settings. You could say after X number of listings viewed, then pop up the lead capture form and don't allow them to view any further properties. You could do 1, you could do 3, you could do 5, whatever. Again, you would want to contact Placester about that upgrade package. We don't have any information about it, not our system, not our upgrade. They would know more about it. Down here at the bottom, this is really, really important. These are the email addresses that are going to be notified when a lead comes into your website. Of course, you want to put in your regular everyday communication email address. But then you also want to put in your e-edge email address, or if you're using a different CRM, you want to put in your other lead forwarding address so that leads that come into your Placester site will automatically be added in as contacts to your e-edge database or to your other CRM, whatever you're using. They have to be separated by a comma. Can't be anything else. Can't be a space, can't be a semicolon, can't be a colon, can't be a line break. You can't hit enter. It can't be a bar. Has to be a comma and a comma only. And then you can put in your e-edge email address. And that's really easy to find. I'm going to show you guys where to find that in MyKW. We're going to go back to our MyKW homepage over here, still open in another tab. Don't close Placester, just jump back over to MyKW. And in our e-edge control panel, we're just going to click on View Contacts to go into e-edge. Once e-edge loads, up in the top right in our gray menu here, we're going to click on Account and then click on My Account. It's the first link here. Now on this page, we want the e-edge email. It's the one that ends in @kwrealty.com. Now if you have Market Leader Pro, this is going to end in something different. It's going to end in your custom domain. But for most agents, this is going to end in @kwrealty.com. You don't want the website. You don't want the one with the dot. You want the one with the @ So we're going to highlight this, copy it, come back over to Placester, and paste it in after this comma. There has to be that comma in between one email address and another. And then you can do additional commas and additional email addresses as well if you've got maybe a lead coordinator or somebody else on your team or whatever that also needs to be notified of leads as they come into your site. But this one right here is what's going to make leads that come into your site automatically be added to your e-edge database. Now we'll click Save, and now new leads that we put into the site, that come into the site, will be put into e-edge. Now the last thing we're going to cover here in Placester 101 is our custom domain. This is where you can find the address of your site. I know this is what everybody was looking for. Everybody contacts us about this. This is where you find that. Your domain by default is going to be the exact same as your KW email with a couple of exceptions. Every once in a while we see it add a 1 at the end. Don't know why it does that. And it's going to switch out the @ symbol for the dot. Now if you're in Canada, that is an exception there. It's going to be .kellerwilliamsrealty.ca versus .kw.com. But if you're in the States, it's going to be whatever it is, .kw.com. The @ symbol is only ever used in email addresses. It will never, ever, ever, ever be used in a website address. So this is your website address by default. You can edit this. You can edit this section right here before the .kw.com, and you do that by clicking Edit over on the right. You can change this out for something else, Scott, Leroy, whatever, your name, your team, whatever you want to in there, and you would just do check availability, and if it turns green, it tells you it's available. You can click Save, and now that is your website address. If it turns red, that lets you know that, oh, somebody else already has that domain for Placester sites, and it'll give you a couple of options to change it to instead. Now, one note, if you change your address right here and you have already printed the previous one on any business cards or marketing materials or whatever, that address will no longer work. It will not forward to whatever new address you've selected. It would just free it up for somebody else to use. There would be no site on it until if and when somebody else selected it. So if you changed it from your name to yournameteam.com or .kw.com, it's not going to forward yourname.kw.com over to the new address. So be careful with that. If you have a custom domain that you purchased from like GoDaddy or KW Domain Store or Google Domains or whatever, and you'd like to use that with your KW website, you can follow their step-by-step help articles right here to show you exactly what to do, one step at a time for how to connect that to your site. Or we offer that as a free service through your Market Center subscription. We can help you to get your custom domain connected to your KW site. So it would be just yourname.com or yourteam.com or whatever without the KW part. I just sent over a link to where we can do that for you in the chat window there. If you need help with that in the future, you're watching a recording, just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com. Once you've made any changes in this section, again, make sure to click Save to apply those changes. Now, one last very, very important note about the domain address here for your KW website. Do not, I want to emphasize, do not ever for any reason put www. In front of the rest of your address. That will mess up the loading of your site. If you put that on any marketing materials or business cards or anything else, your site will, I'll show you what it'll do. My site address is Scott Leroy Marketing. Hold on. Oh, I think I left out the KW. So Scott's site address is scottleroymarketing.kw.com. This part right here is the correct address, scottleroymarketing.kw.com. But because I put the www in front of it, it's showing me this privacy error page. It's acting like it's a malware page, and anybody who visits your site is going to go, oh, this person's a scammer. I'm going to go somewhere else and never talk to you again. So you have to remove the www. In order for your site to load properly. Okay, that's one of the most important things we're going to tell you in this class. So that's about it for our Placester 101 class. That's where we're going to end up. I do want to point out that we do have a free service also where we can set up your Placester site for you. It's through your Market Center subscription. You don't have to pay for it. I just sent you the link where you can request for us to do that there. And if you want more information about all of our free services, I'm sending you a link there. That's scottleroymarketing.com/support. It's got 36 free services that we can do for you through your Market Center subscription. And then I'm also going to turn it over right now for questions. If anybody has any questions, anything that wasn't clear, anything you'd like me to go back over, definitely send those over. And don't be shy. If you have a question, probably someone else does too, or maybe someone in the future will. So send over your question. I'll be happy to answer those. I'm going to leave the recording open for another minute or two. All right, so Alex says, what's the exact pixels for an image in the slideshow? If you go back to the slideshow section here, I'm going to exit this, go back to slideshow here. This link right here will tell you the image dimensions for all of the themes except the Madison. And you said you remember 500 tall, that's right, and it's 1600 pixels wide. In fact, most of the themes are going to be 1600 wide, 1600. Does my Placester website stay active if I have upgraded to Market Leader Pro? Those are separate sites. So upgrading to Market Leader Pro doesn't have anything to do with the Placester system. They're completely different companies, completely different sites. So yes, you do still retain your Placester site even if you do upgrade to Market Leader Pro. Before we go, I do want to cover one thing that I forgot to cover in the IDX integration section. And if you are thinking of additional questions, definitely still send them over. But in this IDX integration section, if your MLS is listed here, but it says pending over here, instead of showing you the option to switch it on, you would want to contact Placester directly about what may be holding that up. Like I said, for a couple of market centers, we do submit IDX requests for you, but sometimes Placester needs some additional information from you as the agent in order to finish setting that up. So you would want to contact Placester directly at support-kw at Placester. Actually, you know what? That's not even right. The email address for IDX specifically at Placester is data, D-A-T-A, D as in dog, A, T as in Tom, A, ops, O, P as in Paul, S as in Sam, at placester.com, P-L-A-C-E-S-T-E-R. So I'll send that over to you guys here. There we go. DataOps at Placester.com for IDX questions. Looks like we're not getting any additional questions, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. Everybody have a great day.